Alright, hey everyone, welcome to another WRP live play TTRPG session. What is WRP? Well, that's me, Faye, game master and storyteller, and Lachlan, our writer and producer. We're a couple who love sharing stories, so much so that we quit our day jobs and created our own company to create high quality and exciting TTRPG experiences full time and share them with you. And tonight we're playing D&D. This session features D&D's Shadow of the Dragon Queen, a riveting adventure of courage and valor where our intrepid heroes face unbeatable odds in a cataclysmic war. With us at the table are several of the incredible players who have joined us on our grand endeavor. If you'd like to play alongside them, you're more than welcome to join us. You can ask in chat or hop over to our Discord to find out more information. Now, speaking of our awesome players, it's time for introductions. Like I said, I'm Faye, game master and storyteller. With me is Sirenscape, bringing all of our background music and sound effects. It's a fantastic and affordable sound collection that you can find at sirenscape.com. And now, we get to meet our courageous, daring heroes as they stand at the precipice of some unknown light and whatever it lies ahead of you all, here in this Temple of Paladine. But before we dive back into that, let's get our introduction for Vass.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm playing Vass. Vass is a devilishly handsome tiefling bard rogue who has found himself accidentally stumbling across the multiverse. This week's fact about Vass, I don't know how fun it is, but I don't think I've ever said what type of tiefling he is, but he is a Mephistopheles tiefling.
Heck yeah. I love that.
He's a magical Mr. Mistopheles.
Sure. I'm not going to say that though, because I can't. But yeah, no, Mephistopheles is just fun to say.
Dope. Alrighty. Next up for our introductions, why don't we learn of Hugh?
Hi, I'm Stefan. I'm playing Hugh DeVere, a flashy, fast, flamboyant, and occasionally fearless fencer. My fun fact about Hugh today is that he is real bad at lying, by his -1 charisma, but now is gotten to be okay at it because he puts a mental fey whammy on the people. But he gets real nervous and over-explains when they're just forced to nod along to his magical powers.
Heck yeah.
However, quite good at hiding the truth, he's good at stealth. He just can't come up with a good story in the moment.
I love it. Alright. And then let's get an introduction for Rhubarb.
Okay, I'm Frontboard. I'm playing Rhubarb Bafflewander, aka Rue. He is a forest gnome sorcerer, 114 and a half years old now, hailing from the island of San Cristofar to the west of our setting. And my fun fact about Rue is that once this is all said and done, Rue thinks he needs to just settle down a little bit more again. This drink's taken, so he's just gonna maybe learn to bake like pastries, like the pies we had earlier campaign.
Oh, what I wouldn't give to experience early campaign pies is the height of excitement. Uh, but no, it's gonna be so much heart racing thrills coming up. It's gonna be great. But while I finish out the last of our camera fixing.
Barb has been replaced by Sirenscape. There we go.
It's my evil plan all along.
We've all been replaced by AI bots.
It's not even AI. It's just Sirenscape. It's just a sound cloud.
I that the right way. Like you don't even need intelligence, just need Sirenscape,
Oh man. I mean, they've got voice
which would
acting
be
on here,
hilarious.
so who knows?
Probably does a better job at that than I. I'll one. You win this time, Sirenscape.
All right. So, with that, let's dive into our session. We last left off in the Temple of Paladine. There is a strange light that fills the ruined building here alongside the water that has displaced it over the years that it has left sitting here. Now, of course, you unfortunately had a run-in with some of the denizens, undead, that were not too happy of your presence here, but they've been dispatched. The waters have run still except for the areas where you have walked through them, and you've given a bit of a investigation throughout the other rooms here, found some items. But now all that remains is this light. The light and the dragon statues that seem to watch it, and watch you as you approach. With nowhere else to investigate, do you return once more to that altar?
I think Vass was already there, wasn't he?
I want to say Vass was already there, but the rest of you were moving, or were maybe moving. There is.
I think Vass told anyone he went there. He just said he would catch up. They were looking in the other room.
I want to say you've already finished that room because I want to say we've seen everything that you guys had to see. So it was because you had gone there, you felt
Yeah.
the weird thing, and then you went and looked around or caught up with them, and then there's really nothing else but the light that is left here. If Hugh and Rue would move. Or not.
If Vass is over there, I'll go back over there.
I'm in the room with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vass went over there, felt the weird stuff, and did a little bit of a prayer, and then came back. And now, as you exit out, you've seen everything there is to see here, but there is still the strange light on the altar. It's been a few weeks, I know.
Can I make a retroactive roll to see if I noticed a change in the feeling of being watched or anything when I was over there doing a little prayer and making the little offering?
Sure. Or roll for me an insight check.
24.
It's not really any change. You feel perceived. There is a bit of perhaps a warm feeling inside, like the feeling of doing the right thing. You don't know if that's coming from the watching or if it's of your own, but when you kind of analyze yourself in what you experienced, there is that touch of that. But the heaviness of the perception of being watched doesn't really seem to move or fluctuate. It just seems large and ever present.
Okay.
Making me feel kind of funny. I already feel funny ever since that creature hit me.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
That's a sound you like to hear your DM make.
I mean, I got sure. I'm 100%.
so do you as a group approach the light, or do you feel that you have done all that you can in the temple? You also all gain a +1 to your AC from our lovely Twitch chat, which reminds me, ooh, I gotta get rid of those.
Gonna tith the altar, but it's too late now.
Yeah, nope. DM's on top of things now.
I'm torn.
This is pretty easygoing at this point. If you guys want to go up there, he'll follow. If he's just kind of going with the flow at the moment.
What if we all go up there? I feel like we've like each gone there and entreated like on our own.
If you do, what if you do it like a group, like team bonding?
That's right.
Too bad none of us spoke Draconic. We could try speaking to the statue.
And we would have understood what Dragon said back inside the.
So, as Rue puts forth the question of going as a group instead of individually as you have done before, what say you?
Looking for the others.
Do you think you gonna take another look at the altar?
Sure.
Okay.
The Vast will trail a little bit behind and just kind of keep his eye moving around the room, that they don't get any other unpleasant surprises.
As your group moves, I will say it's your full group, the four of you, Vass, Hugh, Rue, Victoria. You all come forward to the altar into this strange light, and you feel the weight of those sculptures looking upon you, watching you. And suddenly there is something happening. The broken dragon lance that Victoria has carried since the catacombs begins to move from where she has carried it upon her person and float above the altar in the strange light. You all see this silvery glow wrap around and begin to exude from the lens. The rust that covered it bubbles. There is a dark liquid that flows away from the altar and then disappears before it even reaches the water. and the spear begins to lengthen, and you see and watch as the growth of this newly forged pike-length Dragonlance right in front of your eyes. And it now just hovers in the light. And then, as you're looking upon this, from nowhere, and yet from everywhere, there is a powerful voice. You feel inside of you confidence and awe. The last to wield this weapon was unworthy. His failure was a step along the path to the world's destruction. But this new age needs a new hope. Use this weapon to defend the destiny mortals have chosen. Banish the shadow of the Dragon Queen with the light of this most sacred weapon. With the blessing of the gods, ye champions, reclaim the Dragonlance. Rue, though you have never spoken to this deity in any of your dreams, though you have just now only really interacted with it, you know without a doubt this is Paladine that has spoken to your group.
I can feel it. It's Paladine. The gods are returning. Did we hear that in our heads or
No.
out loud?
You all heard that out loud. It came from everywhere and then from nowhere at the same time. It was a voice that just existed. No, I can't hear you, Vess.
I don't follow a god. My motives are more for self and vengeance. So, I believe Victoria to be a more worthy wielder of this weapon.
If none of you wish to grab Victoria and reach forward, and in the moment that there is contact made with the newly formed Dragonlance, the light ripples outward, creating this wave that cascades against and through each of you. You are healed for 70 points of healing. If you are blinded, deafened, or have any disease affecting you, you are no longer needing to be concerned about that. And I need to check to see if that will affect Rhubarb. I believe the answer is yes, but...
I'm healed by about 50% more than my max.
It's the power of a god, baby! Alright, I'm going to say that yes, this will affect whatever was holding on to Rue, because I'm the DM and I say so.
Yeah.
And
And I
as
get the healing as well.
yes,
I take it.
yeah,
Cool.
it's an and, not an or. So as the sort of radiance moves through you, when that wave is done, you are left in just darkness. There is no more of that light here. It is gone entirely, but you now have a fully formed Dragonlance.
That's amazing. I feel much better than I did just a few minutes ago. Rue kind of like mutters a small thank you under his breath to Paladine.
Okay.
What my next song's gonna be about.
Did you say that the feeling of us being watched has diminished as well?
I would say that yes, that feeling is also not as present. There is a lingering sense. You are again in a place of reverence that seem to hold this connection to a god long gone from this plane, but it is not as strong.
Does Victoria look changed at all after having taken the Dragonlance?
Victoria looks as she always has.
Pale as ever. I think if she doesn't have anything that she wants to do here after that, then Rue would suggest that we make way. There's still a lot of enemies in this town that we need to take care of, and I think draconians that Hemo needs to eat.
Hemo is in fact hungering for draconian flesh. You are aware of this. You have already allowed him to feast upon what he called the Sivak, but there are there are 4 other types that he still needs. He wants 1 of the 5 each. So. I love that that's what you call him.
Be a silent.
Oh, it's the best. So, where do you wish to head to next? It was evening by the time that you were arriving in this place. As you exit out, the sun that was starting to set when you had moved through uh, the wooded berm with all those purple-leaved trees. You can see now where the last touches of light are beginning to flee from the land. You are coming into night.
Maybe our purple-leafed tree friends will permit us to make camp on the berm.
I was thinking the same thing. It seems most friendly with you, Vass.
Yeah, we're buds.
Is that a plant pun?
Maybe. Was it intentional though? Who knows? Yeah, I would put feelers out to see if they would let us stay in the area for the nighttime.
Go ahead. Roll for me a persuasion check.
Okay. That's an 11.
You have proven no ill will to my children. Keep to the accords that have been set, and you are permitted to rest. Stray, and your bodies will lie in my branches.
Noted. Thank you. Are these accords documented somewhere? Maybe want to take another quick perusal just to really make sure we don't go against those while we're here.
They are in the breeze leaves. Anyari's gardens must thrive. I protect them from any invasive species.
Vass nods as if that makes perfect sense to him. And then he goes back to the other two and he's like, we can stay, but like, let's not touch anything and let's not use any plant matter in any way, like for firewood, say. And I think we'll be fine.
I mean, I don't see a problem with that. Be kind to the forest, and the forest is kind to you.
Oh. Do you take your normal watch setup? Okay.
I don't see any reason not to.
I mean, you've been doing it the same way since, the first few episodes. I just, at this point, want to ask just to make sure that you're not gonna, switch it up on me one of these days.
We've been back channeling behind the scenes, and we have collectively agreed that we will keep it the same. I'm just kidding.
Wouldn't be surprised. So, then we'll start off with Hugh's watch, and then it'll move into Rue, and then Vass and Victoria. So, Hugh, as you take your first watch, or as you take the first watch, go ahead, roll for me a perception check, please.
23.
23. As you're keeping the sounds of the flooded district that you found Paladine's temple within, sort of in your senses, you can hear, of course, the shifting of the wind through the branches of not just the sentient tree, Duskwalker, that acts as protector and guardian to the others, but all of the plants here in the wooded berm, the trees, the grass, the bushes even, it all moves in the sort of quiet gentleness. Nothing else seems to happen on your watch. Rhubarb, as we come to your turn, can I get a perception check, please?
Ooh, that was on the cusp. Yeah, dirty 21.
21. As you are keeping your watch here in the middle of the evening, or in the middle of the night, really, at this point, you hear something. It is the sound of stones skipping across the other stones. You hear a clink as it reaches water. And do you have dark vision?
Yeah, at least 60. Let me see. 60 feet, yeah.
There is something just beyond what you're able to see. There is a sort of collapsed column that travels down the berm and into the waters that you had to cross before you arrived here. And something seems to be on it. You're not quite sure what. Not from this distance.
Oh boy. I want to try and be really quiet. I mean, I'm hoping I'm already quiet.
Would you like to roll a stealth roll?
Yes. 17.
You feel confident that you are still and quiet and not drawing attention to yourself. What do you do, Rhubarb?
I'm going to focus my attention over toward the column and kind of maybe squint my eyes more to see if I can see anything as it comes in range. And I guess actually if I'm feeling stealthy enough, I would probably try and crawl, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 feet closer, like almost to get to the edge of the.
Crawling across, crouching down as they approach.
I would like, if I use message, then my whisper's only heard by my target, correct?
Correct.
I think that I want to use message in turn to try and wake Hugh and Vass up and tell them that something's creeping closer to us. Some engineers are creeping closer to us on that column.
Well, would Vass or Hugh wake up at the sound of a whisper, or are they a little bit heavier sleepers?
I think we all know the answer to this.
Caitlin's face reveals it all.
Also, where are we on the berm? I was imagining in my head that we were on, like, towards the south, like on the south side of the bear patch, but I don't think we actually said. I think that's just something I made up.
I mean, if you want to be towards the south, like on the other side of that path, for sure.
I don't know, where did everybody else think we were?
Yeah, I guess we probably would have laid down a little bit in the grass instead of just on the dirt, but maybe Rhubarb's like wriggled his way farther to the west and maybe closer to where the steps are on the western side. Maybe between those two purple shrubs, just south of the berm. Or just south of the path. Assuming they're shrubs.
If it's purple, it's a tree. They're purple-leaved trees.
That's what I meant. Those two trees just to the south of the path on the left side of the berm.
So, yeah, why don't we say that you guys were on the south and that Rue kind of moved a little bit closer? You try and use your message to wake, but Vass stays fast asleep, Rhubarb, at least from this current attempt to wake him. Would Hugh wake up at the sound of a whisper, or does Hugh sleep a little heavier?
I think Hugh sleeps heavier than that.
Okay. So, Rue, none of your companions seem to have awakened.
What if I message Duskwalker and say that I see some intruders coming this way?
You could try and message Duskwalker.
I mean, does message work on a tree?
Does message say it doesn't work on a tree?
Point your finger toward a creature and whisper a message.
Well, in D&D, you're either a creature or an object, and Duskwalker's definitely not an object.
Sweet. How many engineers did I see?
3.
Why would they be out here in the middle of the night?
You know, That's a great question, and one that we're unfortunately going to have to hold off on answering right now because our stream went down, which means we've got an ad break that's coming up here. So hang out with us. We'll be right back to continue our story, but before we head out, I do ask that you let the ads run. They're important to us at World of Witch RP. They help keep our games affordable. If you want to directly support us, you can do so through my Ko-fi. Link for that is on screen, as well as our on screen and then in our chat room. Donations unlock awesome perks for our entire community that benefit everyone who play with us for the next month. So stick around with us. We'll see you guys very soon. And we're back. As we return, there are 3 engineers, it looks like. Just 3 normal people crouching and crawling in the dark for who knows what reason. As Rue, you catch them on your watch. What do you do?
How far away are they?
I will say that at this current moment, they are just 60 feet away.
I say it must be within 60 if I can actually see them with the dark vision. Sorry, I had a tea delivery.
We love that.
There might be a change of plans. Maybe instead of messaging Duskwalker, I think I want to message the engineer that's at the front of the group of 3.
Go for it.
And I just want to sound as like spooky, creepy as possible, but almost like the trees, and just say like, "We see you. Don't come any closer."
Roll for me. Roll for me an intimidation check.
I was gonna say, and then to really seal the deal, I would use like minor illusion to like create like an aggressive rustling sound of like trees and branches.
Okay. Does minor illusion have a verbal component?
No, it's somatic and material only. And that's a nat 1 for a 5.
Then there's an interesting thing that happens here. Most people, in the middle of the night, hearing a voice with no source, would run. It's simple. They would startle, but not this figure. His form seems to shift, almost dropping into a more defensive, battle-ready stance. Eyes flick out, scanning the night. And for the briefest moment, Rhubarb, you see a sheen that looks intense teal, almost like the oxidation of copper. It's or bronze, yeah, one of those. It's off-putting, almost unnatural. If I remember correctly, you had a 17 on your stealth.
Yes.
As you sit there feeling confident in the attempts that you had taken to hide, that confidence strains as those eyes find yours. And then this figure is running at you. And I would like an initiative rolled. And I would like to remind you, Rhubarb, currently your companions are asleep.
We can remedy that.
Yes, but how quickly? So we'll have Vass roll for me a initiative just in case you get woken up here. So, out of those that are currently awake, it is our Draconians go first. As when this figure gets closer, you can see the shift of the illusion as the intense hunger in its eyes comes forward towards you, Rhubarb. And this figure, claw wrapped around, gripping the dagger tightly, is going to take 2 slashes at you. The first is a 21 to hit.
Yep.
5 piercing damage, 9 poison. Please roll for me a Constitution saving throw.
That's a 7.
You are poisoned, and this poison will last until the end of your next turn. Unfortunately, when you are poisoned in this way, you are also paralyzed.
That's some dirty poison.
Mm-hmm. As you feel it sort of moving through your system, the figure is going to take his second attack because he was already in the middle of it. And will definitely hit, which means that because you are paralyzed, this will be a critical. That is 8 piercing and 12 poison. And then the other 2 follow the lead of this figure, but they're unable to make it towards you, Rhubarb. Rhubarb, as we come to your turn, you are paralyzed. And what's going through your mind?
Gonna need some help from somebody, whether that's Lunatari, Duskwalker, or my sleepy head companions here. Or Hemo. Anyone. I guess Hemo's a companion. Is he asleep? Maybe I should have woken him up.
Emo currently seems to be asleep. Rhubarb, your turn unfortunately will come to an end. But at the end of the turn, you are no longer poisoned, which means you are no longer paralyzed. And just as a quick reminder, speaking is a free action, and is not contained to your turn.
No. Oh, in that case, the instant I can speak, I'm yelling at the top of my lungs for everybody to wake up.
Okay. So,
Hopefully one of them's a light sleeper.
as there is the yell, I will say, go ahead, Vass, you roll for me perception checks. I want them at disadvantage because of your sleeping states currently.
8.
$23.
Hugh, you are pulled out of whatever dream you were existing in for moments before as you hear Rhubarb cutting through your unconsciousness, bringing you to a waking state. You're where you were when you fell asleep, but now you can see that there is a fight here in this makeshift camp that you've made. Hemo will also wake up. So currently, only Vass is asleep. And Hugh, as you are now awake, you are next after Rhubarb in our initiative order. What would you like to do?
Well, Hugh was having a fun dream about a lady soldier, and he is very pissed off to be woken up, and is going yelling and casting Hunter's Mark and stabbing at the nearest one.
All right, heck yeah.
So I got a 16 and a 20.
16 and 20 both will hit.
Okay. So that'll be that'll be 26 piercing. And another 4 psychic damage.
It would be so in character, though.
I know.
Alright, so that Draconian that you are fighting now, is looking pretty rough, but still in the fight here. And as Hugh's turn comes to an end, Vass is continuing to just snooze, and a Draconian is going to go, as the two others start closing in that distance fully this time, the one in battle takes 2 swings of the dagger towards Hugh this time. First being a 14 to hit, and then the second
Nowhere
is a
close.
24.
24. Ooh, that's a hit.
That's going to be 7 points of piercing damage, 6 points of poison, and I do need a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, I got 14.
Alright. That is fine. You pass.
And I also maintain concentration and Hunter's Mark.
Heck yeah.
I have proof against poison.
Oh, that's right. Then you don't need to worry about that. But the other two Draconians are going to come in. And
So
Rhubarb,
what was the total damage without the poison?
7.
Okay.
So Rhubarb, one of them comes over to you with their dagger, drawn, and first attack misses with an 8, second misses with a 9. But I am going to ask for a athletics or acrobatics check, as the other one is going to try and grab hold of you.
18 acrobatics.
You scurry away from the grasp of the other Draconian, as you hear the snarl. It is Hemo's turn, and Hemo is going to take his action to shift, losing that elven figure, and once again becoming the darking, toad-like existence of his true nature. Rue, it's your turn.
We're just rustling up a midnight snack for Hemo, that's all according to plan. So I have one on me right now, huh?
2, technically. 3, technically, because the one attacked you first and you haven't moved yet. So they're all around you. You guys are fighting in close quarters.
But Vass is a little distance away, isn't he?
Bass is a little distance away.
I'm going to use my action to disengage, and then I'm going to move on a straight path to Vass, kind of kicking him in the ribs as I walk by, and just try and create more distance between me and these. Actually, you know what? I don't want to leave Vass totally prone on the ground if the Draconians try to follow me. So I will stop beside Vass when I get there after I kick him in the ribs. Wake up!
What?
And that's all I can really do.
I will say that Vass, you can wake up from the physical sort of interaction with you, or if you want to leave it to chance, I'll let you roll your perception roll at a straight roll instead of the disadvantage.
I mean, I love rolling dice, but I feel like if I get kicked in the ribs, I'm waking up.
Sounds good.
I'm not that heavy of a sleeper.
So, Vass, you are now awake, but it is going to be Hugh's turn. So, Hugh, Rhubarb just ran towards Vass. You can hear the sound of Vass beginning to wake, but you do have 3 Draconians here. What are you doing? One of them does look really bad.
Alright, I'm gonna continue on the one I marked. I assume it's the one I did roll it. It looks really bad. Alright, I first use my dancing longsword on that guy. And get a 23
Yeah.
for 7 and 6, 13 slashing. Magic slashing.
Alright, well, with that first one goes down. However, Draconians never go down easily. I need a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, dexterity. Way better. 13.
13. 13's enough. And the other Draconians are also nearby, and they're fine. So, you are all able to avoid being covered in the acid that this figure dissolves into upon death. And
Alright. Hugh twirls and then stabs at the next one. So we got a 17 and a 22.
yeah, both of those will hit.
So that'll be for 21 piercing. And 3 psychic.
Alrighty. And then with that, top of the round comes up with Vass. Your turn. You are awake.
I'm awake and disoriented and irritated. I shoot Rue a glare for the kick in the rib, and
Mission
then
accomplished.
realize, and then I realize, oh, darn, what's over there? So I'm gonna reach for my short bow of melodies as I stand up from being prone, and I'm going to make a, what is it called? A reverberating shot at one of these acid trips.
Oh yeah.
And that's an 18 to hit.
An 18 will hit.
Okay, and they are engaged with somebody, yes?
They are, with Hugh.
So I will get some sneak attack onto this. So that's going to be 5 plus 10 for 15, plus another 4 for my charisma for thunder damage.
Alright, both of the creatures
So
have been struck at this point.
And I'm assuming I have not slept long enough to get any of my spell slots for Bardic back.
You have not yet completed a long rest.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll throw Hugh a Bardic anyway. I've got one left, and he's over there in the thick of it. So, Hugh, you've got a D8.
Alright.
And I'll use any remaining movement to interact with an object to, like, rub the sleep out of my eyes.
I love it. It is our Draconians go. And we've got the one that Hugh turned to engage, going to return the attacks. That is a 9 and a 16 to hit. And then the other one is going to try and follow after Rhubarb. How much feet of movement speed does Rube have?
It's 25, but he stopped at Vass, after all.
Alright. So the first one will miss Rue with a 10. The second attack, however, is a natural 20.
Oop.
For 9 piercing damage and 14 poison.
Yeah, Rue goes down.
And as the creature looks down at you, it is Hemo's turn. And Hemo will go after the one that just took down Rue. And will attempt to first claw at the creature. Which will hit. And then there is an attempt to bite. However, the bite is going to miss. And you can hear a sort of frustration in Hemo. Rhubarb, you are unconscious. Would you like to make me a death saving throw?
Sure. That's a 9. Unless, does it add any sort of bonuses or just a straight d20?
It's just a straight d20, unless you had stuff that affects saving throws, such as bless or anything like that.
No.
Then, unfortunately, that is a failure. What was the last thought you had before you went down, Rue?
Wish these folks weren't such light sleepers.
With that, Rue's turn unfortunately comes to an end. Hugh, we come to your turn. You have one of the Draconians engaged with you here in battle. What would you like to do?
Well, now that I can apply my Hunter's Mark to him. That'll be my bonus. And I will do my attack. A 20.
20 hits.
I'm gonna guess 11 doesn't.
Unfortunately, the 11 will miss.
So that's going to be 17 piercing. And 3 psychic.
I need a dexterity saving throw, please.
23.
You avoid the acid that this thing turns into as you kill it. Meaning, Vass, we come to your turn. You have a Draconian nearby, but you also have an unconscious Rue nearby.
Yes. So, am I in melee with this Draconian?
Not quite. The only one that is currently
Okay.
in melee is Hemo and Rhubarb.
Okay. I'm pretty close to Rue though, right?
Yeah, you are technically
Presumably.
just outside of the melee for the Draconian, but you would be close enough to get to a melee with Rue.
Okay, I'm trying to decide bonus action versus action here. I will take a bonus action to cast Healing Word at 3rd level, because that's the only spell slots I've got left at Rue. And the Healing Word this time is just send me a message next time. And he gets 12 hit points. And then I will back up a bit so that I can take a clean shot at the Draconian, and I'll shoot it with a reverberating shot. And that's a 23 to hit.
Okay.
And it's with the Draconian, or it's with him both, so I'll get some sneak attack on there. That's 12 piercing and 4 thunder.
And with that, the creature falls, and Hemo does get covered in the acid. But he seems unaffected by that. Still frustration in his face, but you are no longer bound by initiative as there are no more
Do I have to make a
creatures.
dex save?
Oh, you would have to make a dexterity save. And you
Good
are
at those.
technically prone, so you have disadvantage on that.
I mean, I'm always prone with my height, right?
No.
It's just a technicality. That's a 13.
You're fine. It's just Hemo that seems to be affected.
Is he mad at me? Because he didn't get to taste any of these Draconians.
He did not get his bite. That is correct. He's upset. If he's specifically upset at someone, you don't know, but he is upset.
Rue kind of staggers up from his prone state and just kind of rubs his head like, what did I miss? Did you guys get them all? And he looks around and sees
Yeah,
there's nothing left.
I think so.
I just thought they were engineers. They were coming across the column over there. Rue gestures off into the distance. But then they weren't. They were disguising themselves. Crafty sons up. I'm worried they know we're here.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I'm a little tired and I'm also a little distracted by the pain in my rib.
Oh, the pain in your ribs. That guy just stabbed me with his freaking dagger and knocked me unconscious. You're complaining about your ribs?
And I brought you back up. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go back to bed. Oh, wait, no, it's my watch. Jess is just super grumpy. Jess is having none of this.
So it would have been towards the end of your watch here, Rue, that this is happening. So, Vas, you can stay up for your watch here. I will ask for a perception check, please.
That's a natural one for 4. Vass might have fallen back to sleep.
Do you wanna do we want to make a roll for that? I'll let you roll a Constitution saving
What
throw.
Okay. I think it's evidenced by the natural one. That's a 6.
Yeah, Vas is knocked out. So, Vas, you are awaking about the same time as everybody else is after you all complete a long rest. To the sun on your face. You don't remember most of your watch. But
That just means it was uneventful.
yeah,
That's all.
totally. No dragons in the sky.
Nothing
Nothing like
happened.
that.
No. No.
I will say, when you all awake, there is one less figure than when you went to sleep. It seems Hemo has left your group.
Uh-oh.
Hey, where's Himbo?
You had the last watch. Didn't you see him go?
No, pretty sure he was there the whole time. I don't know where he is at now. Weird.
He's pretty slippery for a big toad-like creature.
Maybe he's one of these trees. He can disguise himself. Us pokes a tree to see if it's like illusory. It's real.
It does seem very solid underneath your finger as you poke it. It seems to be a real tree.
Whoops, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, be careful with those
Easy.
trees, Ras. Don't want to
Yep,
upset
sorry.
Duskwalker.
I mean, Duskwalker is pretty recognizable because Duskwalker has like corpses hanging off of its branches. So
I mean, it could still get upset that we're messing with its companions or whatever over here, though.
his charges, yeah.
That's right. this point,
Can
I don't
I
trust
make
anything.
a perception check to see if anything else is missing? I'm having horrific flashbacks to another individual that disappeared while we were sleeping.
Roll for me an investigation check.
Natural 20 for
Uh,
23.
Nothing else seems to be missing here. It just seems to be Hemo and the items that he carried upon himself.
I think Rue makes a mental note that the next time that happens, he's not going to try to be subtle about any of his tactics. And rib kicking will start more immediately. I wonder if Tatina could make me some sort of gadget, like a vest that you have to wear, that in the event of danger, I like give a command and it automatically jabs you in the ribs, and then I don't have to do it. I'll ask her about it once we see her again.
Are you muttering this out loud to yourself, or is this just internal thoughts?
Honestly, probably a combination of both.
Rue is
Fair.
100% someone who does a soliloquy. It's like I'm talking out loud. I just don't realize anyone else is here.
I think that sums it up perfectly, yeah.
Are you any good at tracking people, things?
I'm superb at tracking people.
Did you determine where our friend went?
I'll start looking for tracks.
Roll me a survival check, please.
That will be a 23.
23. You've got
I'm not just a pretty face.
you've got a pretty good lead of where Hemo takes a trip to the edge of the berm, and then he enters into the water, and that's where your trail ends. Because you do have the flooded space that you had to travel through back to the street. So it is unlikely that your slot friend is a tree. It seems that he has found his way back to the rest of the city.
Hmm.
While I was looking to make sure none of our stuff got up and walked away, uh did I see anything that he may have left? Did he leave us a note? Be like, don't worry guys, haven't forgot about our agreement. Looking forward to munching on some more draconians. I'll be right back. I just have to go to the dry cleaners or whatever.
You do not see a note.
Okay.
You don't see anything that was left by Hemo. It's almost as if he took his end of the deal and just walked.
Was he even real?
I mean, after like Vass's unsurety as to what he's seen in dreams and reality, who knows?
I'm pretty sure it's you that were dreaming that you saw the dragon that one time. I don't think I'm the problem.
I saw a dragon. We've all seen dragons now.
Okay.
You've definitely all seen like undead dragons, like skeleton dragons.
You guys have seen an illusory green dragon. So I'm assuming he's not expecting us to wait for him.
Maybe our paths will cross again through this city. He's looking for draconians. We'll probably stumble on some draconians.
So, in the morning, now that you are a little bit more rested from your trip the previous day and your midnight rendezvous, uh, what is your plan? What do you do?
We've checked off like the top 3 things in my motivations. So I consider that successful.
Was there a general or a leader of some sort that stayed behind here that we were supposed to get rid of?
There
You
was talk of a couple bosses. I think more of a caster one and a martial one in the spire. I think it was more to the south of the city.
the threshold of heavens, which is in the center. To the south of the city is where you saw the undead dragon lift off with Lord Soth as the rider.
That's right. The threshold of heavens. In my notes, it's called the spire thing. Close enough.
Oh, side note, do we get to know what the super cool Dragonlance does? Or do we need to wait for Victoria to let us know what it does?
I believe we need to wait for Victoria because if I remember correctly, it
Okay.
does require attunement.
Yeah. Okay. Had to ask.
Yeah, it is a attunement required thing. It's sick as fuck, I'll tell you that much. Um,
I assumed so. Did we scope out the spire thingy?
I mean, I think that was the next step in our path. We were just trying to come to this temple for Victoria. I'm glad we did. I think that lance is going to be very helpful. Can we
So,
see that
Faye,
spire?
where
yeah, you can see the um threshold of heavens. It would be more southerly from where you are at. is my map?
Yeah, I just meant like it's tall enough and maybe even like floaty enough that it like is rising up to the point we can see it
Well,
in the center of the city.
let me just uh if you go back to your map where I had sent it in before here. Let me find it real quick. Because there are that should have sent through. If you look in the top rightmost corner, you'll have a visual of what this city might have looked like when it was floating before. That centermost spire, that is the threshold of the heavens. That is that centermost mass in the city. Like anywhere else in the city, you will always see the threshold of the heavens.
And what's the thing to the south of that?
That was a temple that you had seen, and you had
And where are we now?
you are so towards the uh northwest where you see all the water beginning to come and pool down. There is this sort of little jagged dip. I can get you a remix real quick here.
Okay, so we would have had to have gone past the threshold of the heavens to get here.
Yeah, you
Because
walk
wasn't the house that Eklund was at sort of in the southeast?
right. So you walked around where the area was to get to the Dragonlance, because you'd started at the occupied mansion. You learned of all the information happening at the threshold, and I believe your reasoning was if everything's going down at the threshold, get the good stuff first before hitting that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you did walk past the threshold.
We don't need to swim to get back to the threshold, do we?
You do have a bit of the what's it called? That water I just saw you replied there. That's great. Oh, you do have the other side of the water that you have to get through, but the flooded street. But other than that, no, not really. Like if you're swimming, it's not terribly far. Or you could get on someone's back if they're willing to carry a gnome.
I mean, if they've got to wade, I'm content to swim or wade or whatever I need to do. Shall we head back toward the spire then?
Seems like the next step.
Just be on the lookout for any patrols, especially around there. There's probably double or triple. They're probably protecting it. Rue has no idea if they're actually protecting it or not.
As you begin to make your way back to the city, you would notice out of the corner of your eyes a little bit more wreckage of this once great city. As you are leaving this more religious temple, divine area, you see two enormous marble feet at the end of a boulevard. But the rest of the statue is long gone and missing. Fallen in whatever catastrophe was laid here. As you continue in the early morning, throughout the day, towards the threshold of the heavens. Fast. Could you roll me a d8, please?
A D8.
Yep.
I will do this. 5.
As you keep yourselves cautious and prepared, nothing seems to happen. You are met with a calm, though careful, journeying through the city. As you start to approach the threshold, we are going to take our next ad break here. And we will return here very shortly to continue our story. But before we do that, I do ask that you let the ads run. They are important to us at WRP. They help keep our games affordable. If you want to directly support us, you can do so through my Ko-fi. Link for that is on screen as well as in our chat room. And these donations unlock awesome perks for the entire community that benefit everyone who play with us. For the next month, they include special companions, double treasure, double XP, new quests, all sorts of fun things. So, stick around. We'll see you guys very soon to continue our story. Alrighty. We are back in our session. And there is activity that is around the center of the city. You are currently taking a sort of hunkering down moment just at the edges of what feels like a point of no return.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you attempt to press forward to investigate more of the threshold of heavens, or do you do anything else here in the city of lost names?
Wait. Normally they tell you to fuck up.
I mean, I don't think Rhubarb has anything else. I mean, like I said, we checked off like the top few things in his list, so it feels good.
Okay.
Does the threshold of heavens have windows?
Not really, no. It is floating 30 feet off the ground. You see, like, it is a bit of an island. Yeah, the threshold itself floats. There are, you see, dragonelles, the winged mounts, of the dragon army that are being utilized to ferry dragon army officers to and from, and as well as the other figures that go here. The Draconians, with wings of their own, are able to make their own travels. And you would also spot that there are some floating rocks and rubbles, almost similar to the way that Wakenreth's ruins were frozen in air.
Seems familiar.
Getting up there is going to be fun. For you guys, I have food.
We could just use you as like a lift service, then you could carry us up one at a time.
I am flattered that you think I am strong enough to carry Hugh in all of his armor and gear. Don't know how well that'll work in practice. I'll try anything once.
Yeah. Well, what I did was I just reloaded until.
I mean, I can get him up there, or get us up there too. Does Hugh, like, above table, does Hugh have Misty Step, and have we seen him use it, if he does have it?
I think I do, and I think we have not, because it's never come up.
I'm already punished.
Hugh's too busy using his bonus actions for other things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I do have Misty Step, and I had never used it, I don't think.
So then I switched gears.
I feel like you also have healing spells that you've never used.
That was a
either.
recent ad. I was tired of not being able to do anything when people are down, so I switched it, put in a Cure Wounds. That was a recent addition.
This guy.
Man, here I was hoping for a whole, all the way up to level 13, no healing ranger. That would have been great. Oh, that reminds me, I gotta make our little updates here.
You heals
Oh,
by
yes.
killing the things hurting you.
Yeah, it's what one calls preventative healing.
Preventative healing, yeah.
Hanging out.
Alright, there we go. Now I've made sure that everyone's updated nicely. Um,
No.
so, as you all sort of look to each other and understand that perhaps there is nothing left in Anyari for you, except for the threshold of the heavens. You know that you have the few steps ahead of you that you must take. Creeping closer as much as you can, you see atop the floating island a very slender gray obelisk. It rises nearly 200 feet above the surrounding plaza. There are 4 graceful flying buttresses that curve up the tower's entire height. And the only windows that vast you can see punctuate its summit up near the top. It is at the tower's base that you see a single stone door off you, and that there are 4 hulking draconians that guard the door. And around, armored dragonels and their riders circle in the air. The plaza stretches about 100 feet on each side of this tower, and it ends at that island's edge.
Seem outnumbered.
And exposed. Once we start approaching.
I mean, do you think we can or should lure some of them down here to try and thin the ranks, or is that just futile?
I don't see them ceding the high ground. They could just pick us off from up there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could Misty Step up there and hit them with my sword. My friend is it and cast elemental weapon and chooses cold. A sword of freezing death.
As this is the first time you are brandishing your weapon, you also gain a bardic inspiration.
Arctic. Yes, as your fight song plays.
It's See, I was waiting for this. You're wondering. I've been looking forward to. I've been thinking I want him to be a real elemental weapon user guy since he was level 1.
Oh man, it's a little real, ain't that?
It's too close to home.
So, there is space ahead of you. You could rush in, guns blazing. You could try and find some way to perhaps tackle this more stealthily, if you so wish. Or some other approach that not even your DM has conceived.
I wouldn't mind spending some time observing the tower to see if uh there's any times that are less busy than others. Maybe there's a changing of the guard and things are a little bit quieter for a brief period. I don't know.
Um, Go ahead, give me a. Go ahead, give me a perception check then as you watch.
Oh, did our proficiency bonus go up?
I believe proficiency goes up at level
Yes,
9.
it does.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so I'm a +4 to perception now, so that's 14.
There is not so much a changing of the guard that you see. It seems that their shifts are quite long by your judgment here. But they seem no less committed, even with these bouts of inactivity. At least the 4 guards at the front door, that is. For those that patrol in the skies, it's hard to say if the Dragonelles are the same ones they've always been during this time. If their riders are the same. They are constantly in motion. Sometimes dipping out of your view, and then reappearing, or it could be another rider out. But there is actively a handful of them in the skies at any one point.
We're gonna need to like pass without trace and invisibility this if we want any chance of getting closer without being noticed. But if they've got a mage up there, that stuff might not work either.
Oh yeah, there was that one guy that caught you guys at the camp, wasn't it? That's right. Good times.
Yeah, I thought there was a some sort of powerful
were
mage
there.
inside the tower.
I was like,
Yeah.
that
Maybe
sounds
it's the same
familiar.
guy.
It's like, that sounds familiar. Was it this group that I pulled that on?
Yes, yes, it was. Maybe it's the same guy. Um, yeah, that didn't work so well for us last time. So I don't know how we're gonna get up there unnoticed.
Would you like to, as you try and brainstorm, roll a intelligence check to see if there might be something you've overlooked?
Sure. Oh, that was almost tragic. 13.
You could try to disguise yourselves. See if you can find some dragon army officers, soldiers. Utilize their armor to make yourselves blend in. Oh, I lost
We-
your mic halfway through.
Don't you have that disguise kit, Bass?
I saw it blip. Oh no, is
Uh-oh.
Discord being weird?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Hmm.
say we have, I think we have cloaks at least that we stole
You did steal cloaks.
previously,
This is true.
That's during the dialogue.
and some of us. I have a long sword that I never use, but I took it for these purposes. And
DC is actually not very high.
Victoria has one. Hugh, do you have one?
Of
The
the
Yeah, she's straight up.
the
She's,
flaming long sword,
yes, I
like
carry one of those around.
which is
yeah.
more powerful.
And I do have the disguise kit, as Rue mentioned.
So just after I was really excited about my ability to make a freezing sword, you want me to put it away and use a flaming sword instead?
It might help the illusion. I might have let you jump the gun. Um, I feel like I don't know if I had some armor or if I just used the disguise kit to make my armor look more dragon army-ish. I can't remember. I don't think I have any here. No. Does anyone have the capability to disguise themselves magically?
Yes.
Okay, it's one of us.
Yeah, I think I could make myself seem like somebody else.
Okay.
I think the only time that Rue has used that nobody may have been there, and he was trying to pretend he was someone else selling potions back in Calamon.
I want to say that was during your little potion thief arc, the little mini
Yeah.
arc.
hmm But I think too, it was like Rue was trying to give Victoria the slip maybe so he could go have her dagger made, and he just like
You
disappeared with like a massive stealth check and then disguised himself as somebody else entirely and wandered through the city.
yes, that did happen.
Yeah.
I think I disguised myself as a Kender or the Kender that we ran into on the road coming into the city.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I could use the disguise kit on myself and Hugh and Victoria, and Rue can do his thing. We got some cloaks and some swords and a
That's
charismatic individual.
all I'm imagining is like I've got a cloak, a sword, and a dream, and I'm like, well, let's hope that's enough. Uh,
Cloak, a sword, and a persuasion roll.
so why don't we get just for funsies? Why don't we get performance roles as a group to really sell the fact that you are who you think you are, or at least who you're trying to be?
I don't even know who I'm trying to
Oh
be.
no,
Are there like gnome
this is
sized?
tragic.
Was that a natural one and you still got a 15?
No, it was a 3.
Oh,
I was so looking forward to this plus 12 roll, and it was so underwhelming.
And then Rue gets a 23.
God dang.
Maddening. Maddening.
All right, cool. Um, good thing that this is a group roll, right? As you all move, you hear the sounds of the dragonelles above you, their riders. And then you are sort of at the base. You could try and fly up if you've got such a capability, or you could try and make your way up with the floating rocks that are nearby.
Have we seen anybody else approach this fire that was not a draconian that flew or somebody on a dragonelle?
You have
I don't want to
not,
hop on
but
the rocks if like no one else does that.
roll for me. You've not seen, but you've only been here a fraction of time comparatively. Roll for me an insight check.
Okay. 2 plus 8 for 10.
Anyone else wants to roll an insight check, you're welcome to do so as well. You've not seen anyone do it. That might not be a good idea. It might point you as an outsider.
Yeah.
14 rhubarb. And let's see what 14 and 17 for Rue and Hugh. Dragonelles to dragon army soldiers is a very disproportionate ratio. you understand that even though you haven't seen it, there are likely figures that are unable to fly that need to get into this tower. You just haven't been around to witness it. It might not be so unusual for figures to take a more engaged way of approaching.
And
And
we've
we
seen
steal some
humanoids.
Dragonels.
You want to try and steal someone's Dragonel?
Guys, I don't think climbing up manually is gonna be good for us. I think that's gonna be a dead giveaway, so I think we pretty much just need to steal some Dragonels.
I don't know if I'm on board with that. You want to steal a dragon? Have you ever ridden a dragon now?
No, but I mean, how hard can it be? These idiots do it all the time.
Would we like me to cast Speak with Animals? And would Speak with Animals work on a dragon now?
I believe we've tried that before. Because you had the Dragonel scene out with, God, what was his name?
Listrin?
Clistrin, yeah, him. And I believe that you learned your answer is that Dragonels do not count as animals for the You Speak with Animals.
Your steed, can it be a flying creature or is it a toad every time?
Um, eh, I prefer it to be a toad every time. It cannot fly.
Okay.
I feel like Rue is offended that you wanted to change Penelope.
I mean, just this one. It's like Frumpkin.
I know.
It's like I could take my level 5 spell to be the summon draconic spirit, but then I would lose my alter self. I don't know if I want to summon a draconic spirit. I need a week to decide my new spell, okay? What if you like just created an illusion of some sort of dragonel and it just looked like we were riding up on the back of it and it was just all choreographed really well. Somehow we were floating up or something instead.
I could conjure an illusion of a dragon underneath us and then use the boot to make it seem like he's just lifting us straight up. I just don't know if I can carry all y'all.
Right not.
I would say that you would not be able to carry all of your companions.
With my 8 strength, are you sure?
I'm fairly
Are you
confident.
sure?
Yeah. I'll take some time to think
You
about it.
don't, you don't need to look it up or think about it. You're sure?
Do you I can take some time to think about it right here.
No. um, the other thing I could do is create an illusory image of some big monster like that way as a distraction while we zippity pip up the rocks.
Why can't we just climb the rocks?
I just think most people accessing this tower get there by flying one way or the other, so it might be a giveaway that we're not actually soldiers. Is my thought. You know what? There has to be some unruly dragonelles, and if some poor chap needs to get himself up there another way.
Hey, maybe we could hijack a Dragonelle.
How to hijack your dragonelle.
I would love to see how that would go and be in a planning session on how to hijack someone's Dragonelle. Love to see how that might work out.
I mean, you give me enough time, I could probably get one down here. It might not appreciate being brought down here, and it might fly right away.
Are you the dragonelle whisperer?
I was just thinking I would vortex warp the thing down here when it got in range. I don't know how close they're actually flying to us, though.
It shifts and changes. They are just keeping a patrol in the skies, so they're not super close to the ground. Trying to, watch for intruders.
What if we just try and, like, motion one down? Tell him we need some help. Help a fellow soldier out.
There's some adventurers around here and they totally killed my dragonelle.
Go ahead, roll an insight check, please. Hugh.
Sorry, didn't know we were all doing that.
Yeah, no, you could all do it. Hugh and Vass, sure, you might be successful in, bringing the attention of one of these riders down to you, but, that might bring your fairly minor disguises into a little bit more of a scrutinous eye. From above, a cloak and a weapon might be enough, but if they're a little bit closer to you, might be testing the skill of your stealthing abilities here.
I've never been accused of this before, but maybe I'm overthinking this.
I think you need to climb it.
I will, if you would like to climb it, you are welcome to try. I will say that it is going to be athletics checks. Let me double check on that. Yes, it would be athletics check.
I have
I will
climb
be using
speed
my
with
boots.
my walking speed.
Well, the climbing speed would typically help, except that these are floating rocks, and so you're sort of jumping in between, and like there's like space between them.
Ah.
I will be using my boots,
Okay.
and as soon as I get high enough to grab onto something on the outside of the spire so I can guide myself up the rest of the way, I will do so.
Okay.
Oh, I do real bad in the climbing thing.
So,
You have Bardic!
you do have a bardic inspiration. You can add a d8 to that.
So I get 9.
Unfortunately, 9 is not quite enough for this check. So you try and get off the ground, and unfortunately are struggling a little bit here. Rhubarb you start climbing with ease, but then you look down and you see that Hugh is still struggling to get off onto the first platform. Um, do you offer any help, Rhubarb?
Come on, keep up. I mean, is my athletics check for like all the platforms or just one?
Just a partial. Like this is a series of like you've got to get 30 feet up. So like we're breaking this up a little bit here.
Got it.
But you're making your way, Rue. I will say that Hugh, with some words of encouragement, if you would like to make another check here, we'll say that Rue is given a bit of a help action, so you can make that with advantage.
I can't guidance you because otherwise I'll lose my concentration.
17. Now you're starting to make some progress, and you meet back up with Rue. Vass is about floating at the same speed, and once again, I'll ask for another athletics check to continue your progress up the floating bits of rock and rubble to get to the tower.
I'm gonna use my frog charm to give myself bardic just in case I need it.
Sounds good.
What's your bardic up to? Is it a D8?
Yes, it is.
14.
14. Rue, you make more progress. You're getting close to the top. And then Hugh, one more athletics roll, please.
Too bad no one has jump.
Too bad no one has jump. Hugh, you don't lose any of your progress, but you are still kind of struggling to make much more height. Vass, you are the first one.
Who is like, fuck this, and Misty steps.
I love it. Perfect. So it was gonna be Vaz who was gonna be the first one to make it up to the top with the levitate. And then Hugh is like right there as Vaz, you're pulling yourself up. And then Rue kind of scrambles up at the end. And as you all kind of pull yourselves up to the edge, you do see, of course, the doors that lead inside, and the 4 hulking draconians. These are those silver ones that carry the serrated blades. They stand their chests proudly pushed outwards. They are bulwarks of defense. And as they stare down at you, you feel a unspoken command to halt. Then that one of them speaks. Speak the passphrase.
I asked armed person. You don't need to see my passphrase.
That is charm person a wisdom save?
Yep. DC 14.
You see the eyes narrow, and you can feel a snapping of your intention by the will of this creature. No one gets in without the passphrase, and you can hear the sort of growl in its voice as the others start to turn their attentions onto your group.
I walk right up to him, and I was considering intimidating him with say, but instead I go, "This is my passphrase," and I stab him.
Well,
Okay.
before we get too far, I will say Vash and Rue, while this is happening, do you do anything here to stop this course of events? To intercede or intercept?
Yeah, I considered saying, well, everyone knows the passphrase is passphrase, but I think instead I would like to make a performance where it seems like I know more than I do, and I'm like, okay, well, 2 weeks ago it was da 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 da. Last week it was this. Da, 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 just to make it, I'm just gonna pretend like very speak a lot and make it hopefully overwhelm them with words, making it seem like I know more than I do, and I haven't actually said this week's passphrase.
Um, I'm gonna ask for a deception on that. Uh,
Damn, I was hoping for performance.
Unfortunately, that's gonna be a deception there.
17.
Rue, do you do anything?
I'm not sure, so probably not. I think I'm a little bit. Let's just say I'm behind.
You, I mean, you would be here overhearing this. Do you want to make a check to see if you know the passphrase?
No, I mean, like, I did all that.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, roll me a
Maybe I
history
overheard
check.
it some.
Oh, I know for a fact that your group got the passphrase. I gave it to you.
Really?
Mhm.
I have all my notes somewhere.
14. Between the tensions rising with Hugh attempting to rush in as he always does, with vast chattering, you feel yourselves reaching a point as Rue, you search your memory. Passphrase. And then your mind goes back to the mansion. And the Draconian, the commander that was overseeing everything and his notes. And there was a phrase there that comes to your mind. By her will, the world.
Ooh. I think since Rue cast Alter Self, he would probably have the absolute most convincing disguise of all of them because he could completely make himself look like a Dragon Army soldier. And so he would kind of step in from behind then and say, look up at all these hulking figures and say, by her will, the world.
Just moments before
Yeah.
they seem to be ready to give Hugh a proper thrashing, um, they give a huff, looking down at you, Rue. Keep your underlings in line as they go to open the doors. And once these doors open, unfortunately, this is where our session ends for the evening. So, thank you to our players for playing. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you to our viewers for viewing. I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. We'll pick up with the story in our next session. But until then, head over to wildwitch.com. Check us out there. Join us in our Discord to jump in a game yourself. Keep up to date with all of our announcements. You can find our VODs over on YouTube. And as always, may the ever-burning light forever guide your steps. Laters.